Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. My aim is to show you that the key to a happier and more positive mind is to love the life you have. We will look at tips and tools you can use to improve your mindset, and the best thing is, we'll all be on this journey together. I'm back. Look who it is. The person you probably thought had gone AWOL. I had a very long Christmas break from the podcast. And if you listened to my last episode, which I'm sure most of you have, because strangely, it has been my most successful episode ever, which is really funny because it was really miserable. But as I explained in my podcast, I was feeling really, really super run down and just wiped, really, just very low on energy, very looking back, very lost and very just flat, really, I guess. It's probably the best way to say it. I gave myself a really nice long break from the podcast and much of social media, which I really needed. So I had a really nice, restful Christmas break or winter break that has gone very much into January. So I am finally feeling much more energetic, and I've done lots of work, lots of healing. You know, I'm very lucky because I have got an amazing healing modality at my fingertips, which I can use on myself whenever I've got the time. So I'm very lucky in that respect. And yeah, I feel ready to get going again. So without further ado, this week's episode is very much reflective on what I've realised I need to work on, which reflects how I was feeling before Christmas. Do you remember I was quite ill? I think I was quite ill when I first, when I did that last episode, if I remember rightly, and I was coughing lots and my throat was hurting, and it got me thinking that a lot of the time my throat is the first thing to suffer when I'm feeling run down or feeling low or, you know, feeling tired, whatever. My throat is the first thing that suffers, and it always has been. It's the first sign of me getting a cold or getting ill. So I have reflected on this, and it's made me look at potentially the fact that my throat chakra is blocked. And the more I've looked into the physical and emotional symptoms of having a blocked throat chakra, has made me realise I have probably had a blocked throat chakra for many, many years. So I've done lots of extra research into looking into how I can clear my throat chakra. So those are the things I'm going to be sharing with you today. As always, I do not profess to be an expert on this matter. However, lots of things have fallen into place, and actually a lot of things make sense. Before I really get into it, as always, Hugo is sat right next to me, so you can probably hear him snoring if you're listening to this with headphones. I apologise, but at least he's happy. Right, so the throat chakra. It's the chakra that is linked to communication. It's the chakra which is associated with speaking up, expressing yourself, but also hearing other people and being heard. So it is generally communication. Just to take a step back a minute, if you don't know anything about chakras, which if you've listened to my podcast before, I have talked about chakras a number of times, and I'm sure you probably do, but I'm just going to give you a little explanation of what a chakra is. So we have 7 main chakras in our bodies, and they are basically energy centers that represent different aspects of our lives, of our personalities, of our needs. And the throat chakra is one of them. It's obviously located in the throat, but it also affects the areas around the throat. So the mouth, the cheeks, it goes right up to the ears. And then, so obviously the sinuses as well. You can't see me, but my hand is like in line with my ears and just making me think, yeah, my nose is included in that as well. So it is nasal and sinus issues as well. And then downwards from the throat, you've got anything to do with the neck and the shoulders, so the top of the back as well. So how would you know if your throat chakra is blocked? Well, if it resonated with you when I said it's the first sign of me getting ill, then you might very well have a blocked throat chakra as well. So if you often get a sore throat, or that's the first area affected when you feel run down, that is a sign. If you grind your teeth, if you quite often feel like you have a stiff neck or shoulder tension, and this made me laugh because this is another thing that I find very, very common in myself as well, is neck stiffness, stiff, tense shoulders, tension in my neck, tension in the base of my head, which then comes round and, around the back of my head up to the top of my head, which, forms a tension headache. That is very common with me. And quite often if my pillows have to be absolutely perfect, otherwise I will sleep literally with my shoulders hunched and wake up with a terrible headache in the morning. So I have to make sure my pillows are perfectly positioned in between that gap between my head and my shoulders. So like right into my neck. It has to completely support it. Otherwise I wake up with all sorts of problems in the morning. And also if you have thyroid problems, or if you currently suffer with teeth problems, gum issues, if you get reoccurring ear problems, ear infections, or like sinus problems, then that would be a sign as well that your throat chakra is blocked. Those are the physical symptoms. We've then got the emotional symptoms. So the emotional symptoms of having a blocked throat chakra is having difficulty expressing your thoughts and feelings. So whether that's in a relationship, whether that's communicating with people at work, or just talking in general, just expressing your words. If you find that difficult, then that's a sign that it might be blocked. Speaking your truth. So I don't necessarily mean lying. What I mean is, because that's something that comes up quite a lot when you research blocked throat chakra. I don't know why I really struggle to say blocked throat chakra. It seems like a bit of a tongue twister. But when you research blocked throat chakra, a lot of it comes up with lying. And I'm not a liar. However, I probably do struggle with speaking my truth because, as I've said to you before, I am a people pleaser. I just want everybody to like me, everyone to be happy. So I probably overthink about what I'm saying because I don't want to upset anybody. Is this resonating with you? Another emotional symptom of having a blocked throat chakra is insecurity, and also difficulty in making clear decisions. It's like you don't trust your inner voice, your inner truth. Does that make sense? You may have an inability to physically speak. You might find yourself not wanting to speak, or you might find yourself lost for words. And when I saw that, it immediately made me think of me needing to have a break from my podcast. My podcast is all about me expressing. It's all about me communicating. And I really, really, really felt the need to have a bit of a break, which was a massive indication that my throat chakra is blocked. Do you often find that when you're having a conversation with somebody, when you're trying to say something and it feels uncomfortable, do you get a lump in your throat? And you might not necessarily realize that happens, but just have a look out for that one. And something I'm finding I'm doing it quite a lot at the moment when I'm having a conversation is clearing my throat. I'm really struggling to shift the throatiness of when I was ill before Christmas, and that was a month ago now, and I'm still struggling to shift it. I'm still constantly feeling like I've got a frog in my throat. Do you know what I mean by a frog in my throat? Like literally clearing my throat. Having a blocked throat chakra might show up for you as fear of public speaking. So if you've got to do presentations in work, or if you have to stand up in front of people and you know they're going to be watching you, listening to you, if that makes you feel icky, then might be a sign that it's blocked. However, it could be the opposite of that. So if you have verbal diarrhea, if you literally can't stop talking and you're going on and on and on and you don't know what to say, but that means that you talk all the time, or if you overly speak and don't really get your point across, again, verbal diarrhea is like talk, but you're not getting your point across. Maybe you interrupt people. So if somebody is having a conversation with you and you find yourself interrupting them because you have to get your point across, if you have to have the last word on everything, then again, that is a sign. It's like the opposite of what you would class as the symptoms, the emotional symptoms, like the main symptoms that I said before. It's the complete opposite of those. It's like it shows up in the opposite form, you know? So how does a throat chakra become blocked? Now, this is going to make you laugh. If you are a regular listener, then what is my biggest fear or my biggest thing that I'm working on at the moment? If you know me well, or you know me in a personal way, or if you're a regular listener, then you'll probably know the answer to this. But it's fear of judgment. This is what everything comes down to for me. All of my healing sessions that I've had, in some way or another, come down to fear of judgment. And this is the biggest cause of having a blocked throat chakra. Another cause is, like I said earlier, lying, or not necessarily lying, but just not speaking our truth. But if you do find yourself telling the odd porky pie or white lie or big fat ass lies, then yeah, that's okay as well. That is a sign of a blocked throat chakra and probably comes down to a fear of judgment. And I have to read something out to you, which it really made me laugh, and it really just kind of made everything make sense. So what I read was, I need to find out where I got this from actually, so as I can tell you. But it said, an imbalanced throat chakra can amplify the fear of judgment, fear of criticism. Do you notice how I cough then? Fear of judgment, fear of criticism, or fear of rejection. This can manifest as self-doubt, anxiety, or a constant need for external validation. Well, that literally, I'm afraid to say, it describes me to a T. And it's not something I've always necessarily realised or been honest about, I guess. I've obviously been really honest about fear of judgment, fear of criticism. Now, if we go back to a year ago, pretty much exactly a year ago, is when I received my first negative feedback about my podcast. And that, I mean, I'm really glad it's happened, because it made me look into myself. It made me look at why it fucked me up so much. Like, oh God, do you remember? I had to have a tooth out as well around about that time, which makes sense because it's linked to the throat chakra. So that was a year ago, and it's led me to where I am now. It's led me to learning about myself. It's led me to finding belief coding. It's led me to doing all this healing on myself, and now having the amazing tool that I have to not only heal myself but help others heal as well. So I will actually always be grateful for that negative feedback. But it did fuck me right up at the time, if you remember. But it led to me looking into myself and being honest with you about why it was so hard for me to take. And it does. So that going back to that statement saying it can manifest as self-doubt, which I'm not always really honest about, but I do doubt myself a lot. I don't know if it comes across in this podcast. I probably try to hide it a lot, but I do find it hard to make decisions because I doubt myself so much. I haven't got that self-confidence that I'm doing the right thing, making the right decisions, which does obviously give me anxiety and a constant need for external validation. Now, I have been very honest about this, I think, in the past, in that I do like to know that I'm doing the right thing and making people happy, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, it's very annoying. But yeah, anyway, that statement described me to a T. And it's just linking everything up for me because thinking back, I have suffered with throat problems since probably being a teenager. So I used to get tonsillitis all the time as a teenager. I was getting it like 3 or 4 times a year. I was very close. Like I think the doctor said to me once, if I would have had it like once or twice more a year, I would have been like on the list for having my tonsils out, which at the time I kind of wanted that to happen. So, because I, thinking that it would stop me getting tonsillitis, but actually now with what I know, with the knowledge that I have, that isn't actually achieving anything. Like just taking my tonsils out, I'm still going to get problems in other areas because it's linked to a deeper issue, a deeper emotional issue. But going back to, always having sore throats as a kid, and even now, it's always the first sign of me being ill, the stiff neck, the tightness in my shoulders, which I will say has eased off a lot in the last probably year or so. But I do think that's probably because I'm more aware of it now and I manage it better. God, Hugo's really going for it here with the snoring, so I do apologise. Which then makes me link it back to the fact that I was getting tonsillitis all the time from a teenager. That was when the bullying came to light. And so is it all linked with that? Which from my belief coding sessions that I've done on myself and that other people have, other facilitators have done with me, everything goes back to fear of judgment, which always links back to that time. Anyway, I've gone off on one there. So that is why it becomes blocked. And how it becomes blocked, I guess. Now, unblocking your throat chakra allows us to express ourselves and communicate more effectively. It allows us to embrace our true selves and be completely authentic. And it allows us to express our creativity. And the reason for that is where your throat chakra is located, which is obviously in your throat. The chakras beneath that are the heart chakra, the solar plexus, and the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is the energy center for creativity. So if your throat is blocked, if your throat chakra is blocked, then the energy for your your sacral chakra can't reach your mind. It can't reach the top chakras, which are obviously the mind, the ones linked with your mind. So your creativity can't come to fruition. Does that make sense? And finally, unblocking your throat chakra allows you to feel more confident, more self-assured, let go of fear of judgment and self-doubt. I'd love to know if any of this is resonating with you. If it is, then please do let me know. Whether that's privately or in your stories, please do let me know, because I'd love to know. I've shared with you how having a blocked throat chakra affects me. And, there's nothing wrong with that. It's really good to be aware of it. And so as you know what you need to work on. And to be fair, who doesn't want to be more confident? Who doesn't want to be more self-assured? Who doesn't want to let go of fear of judgment? Because I'm sure we all have an element of fear of judgment. Who doesn't want to not suffer from self-doubt? So, how can we open up our throat chakra? Now, one of the things I've read, one of the things I researched is to protect your throat and neck. So, using a scarf or like clothing that goes around the throat area. What I've read is that this keeps it safe and keeps it warm and keeps it calm. However, I will say, pay attention to how that feels, because me having a blocked throat chakra, which I very much know about, I actually feel really restricted when I've got one on now actually, and I keep pulling on the neck. On my top that I've got is quite a high neck, and I keep pulling on it, and it's because it's like I can feel it resting on my throat. So, and I don't like wearing halter necks because it's on my throat. So listen to that as well. So I don't know, it might be good it might feel soothing to wear a scarf or wear clothing around it, but it might feel restricting. And so just go with, listen to your body and listen to what it's telling you. If it feels soothing, great. But if it feels tight or uncomfortable, then listen to that. So what else can we do to open the throat chakra? A lot of singers and actors drink like warm tea or lemon and honey to like soothe the throat. Anything that's soothing and calming. So chamomile tea, jasmine tea, and obviously lemon and honey is well known to be soothing on the throat. Like anything that's going to put less strain on it. There are also certain yoga poses that you can do to open up your throat chakra, which I never knew. So there are very extreme ones where you sort of, I think one of them that I read was a shoulder stand. So you stand like upside down on your shoulders and with your head tucked under. So your head, like the back of your neck would be touching the floor, if that makes sense. Your head is curled right under, and that bends your throat right in as opposed to stretching it out. Does that make sense? So there are different yoga poses that you can do which bend it in and then stretch it out. So another one would be sort of lying back on the floor with your elbows supporting you and your head right back, which is obviously stretching your neck open. Meditation. There are certain meditations which are designed to open up the energetic pathways. So as I explained earlier, where your chakras are all in a line down your body. And obviously if those energetic pathways are blocked, then the energy can't move freely throughout the body. So there are certain meditations and that where you would visualize and focus on that one chakra. So this can obviously work for any of the chakras. But obviously thinking about your throat chakra, you would visualize your throat chakra physically opening. And there are many meditations where you can do a whole body scan of all your chakras, which you visualize the different colors coming through brightly one by one as you scan through the body. Another way to unblock our throat chakra would be to recite some affirmations. So I'm not going to go listing affirmations, but just think about how a blocked throat chakra affects you. So with me, obviously with it being fear of judgment, it would be like, I am comfortable in my own skin, or I don't know if I've ever shared this, but my biggest affirmation is I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me. Obviously that completely counterbalances the fear of judgment, So if you think that you have a blocked throat chakra, then just think what areas it affects your life and make some affirmations, some positive affirmations around that. God, it's weird. The more I'm talking, the more I can feel like my throat is getting really itchy now. It's really weird. Crystals, as always. A couple of crystals that are really good for throat chakra are blue lace agate, aquamarine, lapis lazuli, and amazonite. So aquamarine is good because it helps clear the communication blockages and it promotes clarity and compassion in speech. Blue lace agate physically soothes the throat and it reduces anxiety associated with self-expression. It promotes self-confidence and what have I written there? Harmonious relationships. So if you struggle communicating within your relationship, then or in friendships, anything like that, or any relationship, whether that's a work colleague or anything like that, if you struggle with communication with people, then blue lace agate would be a good one. And is that the one? I think I'm wearing that right now, actually. Lapis lazuli is the crystal of truth and wisdom. It encourages honest self-expression and it supports clarity and creativity. Again, we go back to that link between creativity and the throat chakra. And then amazonite. It's the stone of courage, and I reckon this needs to be, because I've got all the other three, I reckon this needs to be my next crystal purchase. So it helps alleviate fear of judgment and supports open, heartfelt communication. It promotes self-assurance and balance and harmonizes the energy in this area. So that sounds like a good one. There are certain things you can eat that support the throat chakra. So anything blue, obviously the throat chakra, the colour that's associated with, I'm saying obviously, I haven't actually said this, so you wouldn't necessarily know this unless you know much about chakras, but the colour blue is associated with the throat chakra. Also, all the crystals that I mentioned are all blue. So blue foods such as blueberries, blackberries, they are particularly good because they are high in antioxidants, fibre and certain vitamins, but also coconut water, herbal teas, as the ones I mentioned earlier, and honey and lemon are good. And the certain fruits that grow on trees seem to be associated with the throat chakra. So apples, oranges, lemons, for some reason they are associated with the throat chakra. Essential oils are another way that can support the opening of the throat chakra. Would be the ones that are associated with the mouth. So like peppermint. Peppermint is obviously traditionally used for freshening the breath and easing headaches. I use it a lot for easing my headaches. But on an emotional level, it stimulates the mind, it promotes creativity and self-expression. Eucalyptus is used to calm the nasal passage and the sore throat. Like that's always my first go-to when I get a cold is eucalyptus. It's also great for sinuses as well. If you can burn it, it's great for clearing your sinuses, or if you put it in the bath, put a couple of drops in the bath and the steam will help you clear out your sinuses. But on an emotional level, it promotes inner freedom and well-being. Clove is very commonly used for oral issues, so problems with your teeth, with your gum. It's any pain that you get in your mouth. Clove is like the best essential oil, apparently, that you can use for that. Lavender, though, is the one that I personally use. I haven't finished saying about clove. It helps on an emotional level. It helps create feelings of protection, safety, and it promotes good sleep. But going back to lavender, that's what I personally use whenever I have a toothache, and I quite often get, again, and this is all making sense, but I've got a wisdom tooth, which every like 3 months or so, it will just, I can feel it like budging a little bit, and it hurts for a couple of days, and it go a bit inflamed, and then it just go again. It's like it just moves like a millimetre or something like that. Not even that, because it would have come through by now. I'm bloody 41. But do you know what I mean? Like, it just constantly reminds me that it's there. Every couple of months, it reminds me that it's there. So whenever I have any toothache or anything like that, I put lavender straight on it. Don't listen to my advice on that, because you shouldn't actually use essential oils orally. It's certainly not neat like I do. So do not do that. But that's what I do. But lavender is a brilliant all-round essential oil, which just promotes calmness. It promotes emotional balance, and it just makes you feel really safe. And I literally put lavender, again, this is really funny, like all these realizations are falling into place for me, but every single night without fail, before I go to sleep, Craig's probably laughing at this if he's listening, or anyone who knows me, anyone who's ever been away with me in a hotel or anything like that, will know that I put lavender on my neck and shoulders and on my forehead, like habitually, like every single night without fail. Otherwise, I will wake up with hunched shoulders and a stiff neck and a bloody headache. So yeah, lavender is amazing as well. However, all these ways, I don't think any of these are going to like really completely change your fear of judgment. Do you know what I mean? If that is the underlying issue for your blocked throat chakra, then they're going to support it, but they're not going to change it forever. You know what I mean? So you're going to find that it keeps coming back. All of these things are great to support the opening of the throat chakra. But really, if you think what causes the throat chakra to become blocked, which is primarily fear of judgment and not speaking your truth, not feeling like you can fully be yourself, having trouble communicating, not being able to speak your voice, having trouble getting your opinions and your views across, and sometimes not even being able to use your voice, or being really, really shy. Those are the things that cause our throat chakra to be blocked. So really what we need to address is the reason for those things. So that would be my biggest piece of advice to anybody who's listening to this. So whether you do that through some form of therapy, belief coding, or whether you do that through journaling to find out where, to just try and free write and find out where those things have come from. Just be completely open and honest. And sometimes free writing, you'll be amazed what comes up. But yeah, if you are able to find out where those issues that have caused the throat chakra to become blocked, if you can change your subconscious beliefs, the way you actually think about those things, then that is going to be the best way to heal your throat chakra. And I can say that is not a quick process. As I've said, the amount of times that fear of judgment has come up for me, and it's something that is really, really, really deep rooted for me, as you know. And every time I do some healing, I heal one tiny little bit. We can only heal one thing at a time. So I heal one tiny little bit, and then I move on to the next thing. And that is the way that I'm truly going to be able to open my throat chakra. And obviously I joke about, belief coding, using belief coding as a healing modality, but there are so many different healing modalities out there, such as NLP, there's inner child work that you can do. There's so much available to us nowadays. So that is that's what I'm going to be doing, is focusing on healing my fear of judgment. Now I've realized that is really what causes the throat chakra to be blocked. I say to you now, as accountability, I guess, that is what I'm going to be focusing on, is really, really really changing my beliefs, really transforming my beliefs and focusing on the fear of judgment and using those other things that I mentioned alongside it. So the crystals, the essential oils, and that reminds me, I actually know a lady who makes soaps out of essential oils, not out of essential oils, but they have essential oils that they are targeted for each of the chakras. So, and she's also made a balm, which I have bought one off of her, and it's for the throat chakra. So it's for communication and truth, and it has things like peppermint, tea tree, citrus, which obviously are a few things that we mentioned earlier, but you rub it directly on that area of your body. So obviously with this one, you rub it on the throat chakra. I mean, you can use it anywhere, obviously, but the elements of the essential oils help to ease the throat symptoms, or the symptoms that are affected by the blocked chakra, whichever one it is. So I'll put the link to her, actually, if you're interested in having a look. She sells them online. Her name is Shine Body and Bath, and her website is shinebodyandbath.com. So yeah, you'll be able to have a look and just take a look and see if there's anything that you like. I love the idea of them being targeted at the different chakras, and the smell of this throat one is just lush. I love anything that's sort of pepperminty or menthol. Love it. Anyway, I can really feel my throat drying up now, so I'm going to go. I have waffled on for a lot longer than I thought I would, and a lot longer than I normally do when I'm just chatting by myself. So I really hope you found this useful and interesting. If you have resonated with any of it, then please do let me know. You can do this either privately. You can find me on Instagram, send me a message. Obviously, in the link below, you'll find my email address. You can email me and contact me that way. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please do leave a review. Please do share it with your friends. And please do tag me in any of your stories. So if you decide that you've got a blocked throat chakra, then share it with the world. Like, share it that you are willing to heal and that you're willing to work on yourself, because people find it really interesting. So if you do that, then please do tag me in it and just let me know which of these things that you've decided to try, and let me know which ones are effective. I'll report back next week and let you know how I've got on with it all. But just before I go, I just want to say thank you so much to anyone who's reached out to me asking if I'm okay, because obviously I have been absent for quite a while. So thank you to those of you that have reached out to me asking if I'm okay, checking on me. I really, really do appreciate it. And I love that I've made friendships from people who listen to my podcast, and I really do appreciate you. So thank you so much. I really do mean that. It means the absolute world to me. I really hope that you've had a great start to the new year. And that reminds me as well, the end of my last episode, I also mentioned that I was doing my year planning workshop. And because I was so ill, and I also had a family funeral to go to, I cancelled it. I had to cancel it. So thank you to the people who've been patient for that. I am actually still going to do it, but in true cyclical living fashion. I talk about that a lot now, living with the seasons and listening to your body and your energy levels in the seasons, in the different seasons. Obviously, winter is a time for rest. It's a time for going within. It's a time for recuperating. So actually, it might not necessarily be, it will be for some people, but it's not necessarily going to be the best time to be planning the next year because you haven't got the energy to think about it, which is exactly where I was. So if that's you and you want to join me in a couple of weeks, then do look out for that. I'm going to be announcing the dates soon. Don't forget to rate and review the episode, and stop waffling, Lisa, now. You've spoken enough. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to me. I wish you all an amazing week and good luck with unblocking those throat chakras, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.